All right, welcome to Zoom in Canvas. We are your WSISD instructional tech team and we're here to serve you. We're going to go through this presentation virtually. So let's go on to the next slide. These are different ways that you can use Zoom in Canvas. You can go through announcements, the navigation bar, assignments, or course events. It is up to you how you would like to use it within Canvas. We can go through the course announcements to add your Zoom link. So that will be the first thing that we do. So if we're going to use the course announcements, we want to first click on the announcements in the navigation side tool. We want to add an announcement, and then this screen will pop up here where we can do an external link. We want to make sure that we add all the information that we get from our Zoom meeting ID. So if we're wanting to do a personal meeting ID, this is what we would do. If we're updating the link every time and creating a different one, you don't want to do course announcements. This is if you just want to have your personal meeting ID up for the announcements every time, and then just let your students know we're Zooming at this time. You can also put that in the announcements. We Zoom on Mondays and Wednesdays between 9 and 10. You can put something like that there. Navigation. You should have Zoom in your navigation bar. So this is just a quick and easy way for you or students to join meetings, start meetings. If you click the Zoom on the left, then the Zoom actually opens up in Canvas. And here you can schedule a new meeting, you can see previous meetings, and you can click on Personal Meeting Room and get that Personal Meeting Room link that we've been talking about. This is where you would get any recordings that you have from Cloud Recordings. So adding Zoom to assignments, this is something that is recommended for secondary students, and because it is recommended, it is mostly because that it adds the Zoom to the student's calendar in Canvas, and it also sends them an email to let them know that it's going on. So how we do that is by clicking assignments, then clicking add assignment. When this box pops up, we're going to give an assignment name. You're going to insert any information that you want your students to know. What is the Zoom about? What are we going to be talking about? What your expectations may be. Then on submission type, we're going to click the drop down tool and we're going to choose external tool. Now we're going to find Zoom. Once you locate Zoom, you will click on Zoom and click select. So now that has the assignment link is ready to go. You have to schedule the meeting. So it's going to open up now with the Zoom background within Canvas. So click schedule a new meeting, add your topic, your date and time, recommended settings, and then down here you also have some more options. I would recommend that you record your lessons to the cloud. That way if a student was absent, you can always share that to them. Adding a course event. This would be using your personal meeting URL. So again, this is not recreating a different link every time, but using the same Zoom personal meeting ID. And so to do that, you want to click on the calendar. When you click on the calendar, it's going to pop up an event. You're going to make a title for the event, the date and the time, and then on the calendar, you actually have the option to choose what section or what course you're actually making this for. Then you want to click more options so that you get this right here. And I just labeled it Zoom meeting. You can let your students know we're going to be meeting here on these days. Please make sure that you arrive at the scheduled time and put in your Zoom link. If you look down here, you can actually set times and you can add reoccurring events. So that way that it's constantly coming up on their calendar. Finally, when you're joining and ending a Zoom meeting, there are different ways to join a meeting. You can join the meeting by using your application, which is what is recommended for teachers and students. However, you can also join through Zoom through the browser if you're having any issues with the application. You want to make sure that you select the audio option, phone or computer audio. I would recommend using computer audio if you are on your desktop. Webcam sharing option, and your meeting is ready. Students cannot join this meeting until you begin the meeting. Ending your Zoom meeting. You can either click Leave the meeting if you're in a web browser or End meeting if you're on your desktop application. So Zoom netiquette, we went over this in the spring, but we just want to touch base on it one more time. Remember to dress appropriately and also remind your students to dress appropriately for Zoom meetings. Control the video and audio. Try to hold meetings in quiet indoor locations and control ambient noises. Think about your background. Try to provide a nice, plain background. Practice speaking on to the camera and not to the screen. Our tendency is to look at the person on the screen, but you should look at the camera when you speak to the audience so that they feel like you're talking directly to them. We're going to go live for just a moment. All right, so in our live session, I'm just going to show you a little bit about the actual Zoom. So if I click on Zoom on the navigation bar, as I said, this is what shows up. Previous meetings, here's a meeting that I had. I can delete it or save it. Personal meeting room. This is what I was talking about. If you're going to add to your announcements and you don't want your link to be constantly having to be changed, you would use this for your announcements or your course events. And you would just copy the link and put it into that information. Zoom is going to automatically create a passcode from now on. You are not really able to control the passcode. They made this one for me. You want to make sure that all of these things are set up correctly. Your cloud recordings, this is where it will go whenever it's time. If you choose the cloud recording option when creating a meeting, this is what you're going to see if you have recorded the meeting for students so that you can share the link out. So if I want to schedule a Zoom meeting, these are the choices that I get. I can choose the time. We are not going to require registration. You can change the passcode if it's easier for your students. For the host, do you want your video on? Participants, do you want it on? It automatically sets to off. Audio for both is fine. I would recommend muting participants upon entry if you're meeting with a large group. Use your personal meeting ID, and I would automatically say record the audio to the cloud. You can add alternative host and then save the meeting. And now the meeting is ready to go. All right, so back to our presentation that we are almost done with. We have recommended some elementary Zoom information. We recommend because students, it will be easier for you guys to have a set time that you can Zoom with them and to have just using the personal meeting Zoom link. That way you're not having to update it constantly. So we recommended that you create a Google slide. It can be as plain as day and embed it into Canvas on your homepage. I have 2 examples below that you can click File, make a copy of either one of these. So I'll just kind of show you what it looks like if you were to do that. So like for this one, I click Made says Zoom meetings. We meet on Mondays and Wednesdays at 9. Here's the meeting link. They click on that. They have the meeting ID and passcode. It's the same thing for this one. If you were to click on template 1, it will have you make a copy. If you click on template 2, it will have you make a copy. When you embed those into Canvas, you can update the Zoom meeting ID or do anything that you need to do in Google. You do not have to keep going back to Canvas to update things such as this. All right, secondary recommendations, as I had said, secondary teachers are recommended to use their assignments or the Zoom navigation bar on the left. This forces the invite to the student's email and calendar as well as the teacher. All right, we have made it to the end, but we have some super, super cool resources. This right here is a Zoom etiquette, make it your own. It currently has my Bitmoji, but whenever you make it your own, you can add your own Bitmoji to this. This is a great Zoom guide for parents and students. It is literally 4 slides. so it is not overwhelming. We recommend that you go over that with students. You can make a copy of this and you can add your own Bitmojis to the slide. There is also an awesome video down here. It's about 40 minutes long, but if you want to know more about Zoom, it is highly recommended that you attend this live training about Zoom for Education, because there are a lot of helpful tips in there that we did not go over in today's presentation. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to your instructional tech specialist, and we will be happy to help you. Have a great year.